Invasions in Elden Ring aren't perfect. We all know it, and we do what we can to cope. Some of us go so far as to suggest improvements. I am one such person, and I come to you today with one such suggestion. Should From Software add co-invaders to Elden Ring and any future games in the series? This is a concept I've talked about a bit in the past and seen mentioned over the years. The idea itself is simple, letting invaders match during an invasion with another invader of their choosing. The method, however, would probably be a little more complex. First, I want to say that, despite the issues something like this could introduce, I'm essentially entirely in favor. Invading can be a lonely, isolating experience, and being able to bring a friend would go a considerable way toward the long-term appeal of the system. That said, the game could use a number of adjustments prior to this to make such an addition go smoothly. I want to clarify this topic by stating something obvious. Co-invading is already in the game in the sense that two invaders can invade the same host at the same time. But what we're talking about today is the deliberate matching between invaders, much in the same way that a host can choose their cooperators, not random chance matching. With that established, co-invading is the sort of mechanic that would pretty much require a 6-player limit at minimum. 4 players running a 2v2 is okay, but it doesn't leave any room for error. It's already hard enough to get a second invader with the slot being open to any summon, so I'm gonna say we need a dedicated second invader slot for consistency. But that's easy enough to accomplish. All From Software needs to do is fix the Taunter's Tongue to work like the dried finger from Dark Souls 3, and we're golden. It's an opt-in function, so it can't really affect unwilling players, and it'd give us a 6-player limit with at least 2 invader slots. Done and done. Miyazaki, please do not hesitate to give me a call if you need any help figuring this one out. I got you. Beyond that initial hurdle, we have another point of contention: team identification. Just because you summon someone with a password doesn't mean you're automatically on the same team. Invaders in Elden Ring may be allied in their objectives, but they are able to target and damage each other regardless. Not exactly team spirit. While they could leave this point alone and let the invaders damage each other as they can right now, Elden Ring's spam potential and the host team possibly getting a 4th player means it's an issue I'd like to see resolved in a world where this gets implemented. Fortunately, From Software already solved this issue in Dark Souls 3 with Covenants. Now, I know some of you are probably sitting there saying, "Emo John, Elden Ring doesn't have Covenants." Don't interrupt. But you're right. It doesn't. But that doesn't mean it can't. Or rather, it doesn't mean it can't differentiate between invaders. We have 2 items that allow for invasions: the Bloody Finger and the Recusant Finger. Each item reflects a different lore reason to invade, and each titles respective invaders accordingly. While I'm not sure if these 2 invader types are flagged as different teams in the game data, I think it'd be a pretty easy point to assign them as such. If any player can toggle their team value in Cheat Engine, I can only assume a developer can toggle team values in Cheat Engine. This would give us 2 different forms of invader team where, when on the same team, one cannot harm the other and would add a little flavor to each invading faction. It preserves the idea that there are different types of invaders who aren't always aligned, while also acknowledging that some might share a goal, just like the Watchdogs of Farron or Aldrich Faithful of Dark Souls 3. Second hurdle hurdled. We're on a roll. But regarding mechanics, how would an invader actually co-invade with another? Barring an actual multiplayer lobby or letting people invade while cooperating, the easiest and least invasive option as I see it is just to use the existing password system. Currently, passwords have no bearing on invasions. They don't allow invaders in or keep them out. The 2 do not interact in any way. So they could just change that. Make it so when you attempt to invade, the game searches for any matched passwords. I want to make a quick side note here about password matchmaking. I've always been a little bothered how having a password enabled disables you from summoning non-password signs. I get why it works that way, but I'd much prefer there be a toggle that allows or disallows non-password signs, especially because that's exactly how I'd want it to work for invasions. Give invaders using a password the option to search for only password matches, or any match, password or otherwise. Use passwords not exclusively, but in addition. For example, I invade with my password enabled, but there's no existing match for me to join. I could still find matches as I normally would. Then, if someone else with that same password tries to invade, they can either exclusively look for my password or simply priority match with passwords while seeking any invasion. Once matched, they enter the fray and we use organized, choreographed dance to teach those idiot minions a lesson. And on the point of password matchmaking, it could even be extended across the board, with passwords working for all invasions from every side. Hosts could allow themselves to be targeted by friends looking to invade them. Streamers could better facilitate stream snipers. The possibilities are endless. I have personally experienced the horror of having a friend try to invade me on stream and shame me in front of God and anyone watching, only for them to instead get bodied by unrelated gankers all night. You think I want to hear about how disappointing that is for them? You think I want to talk to my friends? Of course not. And all the other quirks of matchmaking would get ironed out in the process because the password system ignores everything and scales summons to the host's level. Too high level to co-invade with a friend? No problem, the system will downscale you based on the host. If it works for cooperators, I don't really see an issue with it working for invaders. For clarity, again, this would not be an exclusionary mechanic either. I'm suggesting that if an invader uses the same password as a host, they can join their session regardless of level, just like a cooperator. I am not suggesting they should have it keep out invaders who do not have that same password. This would be a personalized invitation to an otherwise public event, not a private party. Because really, what we're talking about here is so much bigger than co-invasions. It's password invasions across the board. In the same way that wanting to play with friends takes higher priority than preserving game balance, invasions and all other multiplayer should work by the same token. I've seen it suggested that the invasion range should factor in cooperators' levels in addition to the hosts, simply downscaling invaders when appropriate, and it's the same sort of idea. Let the game's matchmaking exceptions apply to all parties. Because unless there's some fundamental problem with downscaled summons where they cannot possibly be allowed to exist in the multiplayer, the only reason to disallow them as invaders is one of neglect or simple host favoritism. And I am not personally against reasonable host favoritism. I am merely suggesting FromSoft be a little more open with their considerations regarding multiplayer and PvP. After all, activity and longevity are things that benefit everyone. And keep in mind, these are all mechanics that already exist in the game or have existed in some form. Multiple invaders can invade the same host. Passwords allow duels between players of any level. Covenants have explicitly teamed invaders against hosts, and the arena lets you password match for exclusively PvP purposes. This is just a common sense linking of these mechanics. The only thing in danger with this sort of addition is ganking, and as a former avid ganker and someone who genuinely appreciates the activity it can provide, I can confidently say this would improve ganking for everyone. No more 3v1 smackdowns where the only fun to be had is trying to ruin each other. They'd be replaced by 4v2s and maybe even 3v3s where you're far more likely to get a good fighting chance match on either side. It's a win-win. But I know this sort of thing is a long shot at this point. Elden Ring has all but abandoned PvP and serious multiplayer improvements, with the remaining patches likely to focus on little more than some balancing issues and minor tweaks. Still, it's a good idea to pitch different adjustments and suggestions in the event that From Software is taking notes. Keeping up community interest in the final updates is the most we can do to give this game the best outgoing experience possible. And even if Elden Ring ends up missing the boat, a future title could incorporate any or all of these ideas, so it doesn't hurt to keep making our lists. Let me know in the comments what you think of co-invading or password matching being more broadly utilized. It's something that seems like it'd be wildly popular if From Software took the time to implement and could take the multiplayer to a whole new level. The Souls series was underappreciated for years until the community finally blew up, and I'd love to see the same for the series' multiplayer. Otherwise, like the video and let me know what else you want to see me cover. With Elden Ring coming to a close in the near future, I'm open to all sorts of ideas, so subscribe if you're interested in the journey. Until then, thank you for watching.